Well, let's look at some examples of information systems failures that are and are not appropriate for the exercise. Your first assignment exercise is to do some internet research about the causes of information systems development projects tied to specific phases of the information systems life cycle, that is the systems development life cycle, SDLC. So what do I mean about appropriate cases and examples and inappropriate? Well, let's look at these two URLs that's in your assignment handout. Let's go to the first one, and that would be right here. Here's the URL. And the name of this article on the internet is 5 of the biggest information technology failures and scares. So let's review what they say. A German pro basketball team was relegated to a lower division due to a Windows update. Starting May 13, 2015, the Paderborn Baskets, a second division German basketball team, was relegated to a lower division for starting a game late due to a necessary 17-minute window update to the scoreboard's laptop. This is not an appropriate example for your assignment. This is not a large-scale organizational information systems. It is simply a Windows-based app that had a glitch in it because of this update. It has nothing to do with the system's development lifecycle. So we give this one thumbs down. It's not appropriate for your homework. Now, of course, you can't use any of these examples anyway. So you have to find new ones, of course. Number 2, a large drug wholesaler failed large implementation of ERP. If you don't know, ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. These are large-scale organizational information systems that you can buy off the shelf. Let's see what it says. In the early 1990s, Fox Meyer, a healthcare service company, was the 5th largest drug wholesaler in the United States, with $5 billion in annual sales and around 500,000 items shipped daily. Because of fierce competition, they needed a solution that would make complex supply chain decisions while facing the cost pressure. They decided that an ERP would offer the best solution to get real-time information, automate and integrate inventory systems within a unique system. It is sounding like a large-scale organizational information system. This IT system, multi-million-dollar project, obviously large, first of its kind, launched in pharmaceutical. The implementation cost for SAP, which is a type of ERP, was budgeted at $65 million, and the ERP system was projected to save Foxmeyer about $40 million a year. Okay, large budget, and it says this failure was the result of poor planning and implementation. Those are phases of the SDLC. Planning, poor selection, no consideration of other consultants' advice, lack of contingency planning, no end-user involvement. Bingo, good. Implementation, no restructuring of the business process. Obviously, implementation is a phase of the SDLC. Insufficient testing, overly ambitious project scope, dominance of IT specialists' own interests, so on and so forth. This obviously would be a very good and appropriate example to include in your research, except that we've used it here in this example, so it's off limits. Okay, 3. A $2 billion air traffic control system failed due to insufficient computer memory. And if you read through this, it's not appropriate. There was not enough memory in the computers, and it shut down the flight processing function. It says nothing about SDLC. Could be a large-scale system, but this is a technical glitch. This isn't a failure of one of the phases of the SDLC. So no to that one. Queensland Health new payroll system fiasco. Now this sounds like it could be a large-scale one. State government of Queensland introduced a new payroll system in 2006. Seemed like it was going to be straightforward. 5 years later, however, the project's reviewing commission called it the worst failure in public administration in Australia's history. They had selected IBM Australia to set up a new payroll system for 80,000 employees of Queensland Health. The initial contract was budgeted for $6 million, expected to go on for months, 6 months, which actually is kind of a short time. It didn't go well. Major defects and an additional cost of $25 million. The core system was functioning, but QH had to hire another 1,000 employees to manually undertake the payroll. Fault was found at every stage of the project, including procurement process, the planning of the contract schedules, and vendors management. Yes, indeed, that would be appropriate. 5. Ariane 5 launch became one of the biggest information technology failures. You read through this and you see that they don't mention SDLC. They talk about converting data from 64-bit format to 16-bit, and it resulted in an overflow error and the system went down. That's a technical glitch. That's not something related to system development lifecycle phases. So that would be a no. Let's quickly go to the other URL. Now, this is on ResearchGate, and this is kind of heady stuff. These mostly are research papers. You don't have to use research papers. You can use trade journals. Stay away from blogs. But any historical accounting of a large-scale information system development project failure that ties it to some sort of critical success factors tied to those stages of the system development lifecycle are good, are appropriate. And these do as well, but you can't use them because they're examples. Here's an article by Kaye Linton and Rudy Hersheim, and I'm familiar with these folks. And sure enough, if you look through this, classes of IS failure, features of the ISD process, this is good. Okay, and if you go through this, you'll find that they do indeed have tie it to system development lifecycle phases. Well, I hope these examples give you a better understanding of the homework assignment and what I'm expecting. If you have any questions at all, ask them to me before you begin working. I want to help you. I want you to be successful, and I believe you can do this. So let me know if you need any help.